Forget Isak, Ekitike and Sesko. Newcastle's 35 meters transfer target is the perfect striker option. Newcastle have missed out on a host of strikers, but one player they finally signed could be the best buy of them all. There are just a few days until the new season starts, and Newcastle United face the prospect of heading into their opening game against Aston Villa without a recognized striker following a chaotic and psychologically draining summer. Alexander Isak is working to force a move to Liverpool and is refusing to train, and as it stands seems rather unlikely to be in the squad on Saturday. Meanwhile, attempts to sign another forward to provide competition or a replacement have been disastrous. Benjamin Sesko, Hugo Ekitike, and Liam Delap have all been targets that chose other sides. Still, Newcastle have to put all that behind them, embarrassing though it has been, and sign a striker, and their long and winding search for a forward has brought them back to Brentford's Yoane Wissa. Fortunately for Newcastle, Wissa might just be the best of the lot, at least in the short term. Perhaps it's because he has been playing his football for a relatively unfashionable club, or simply because he is a late bloomer. But Wissa, who turns 29 at the beginning of September, remains rather underappreciated despite hitting double figures in the Premier League for 2 years in a row. A triumph of Brentford's scouting and development, Wissa hit 19 league goals last season. That's more than Sesko, more than Ekitike, and more than Delap. And if you take penalties out of the equation, he scored exactly as many Isak. While Newcastle got themselves tangled up in big money battles for more expensive players, they may end up signing the most efficient goal scorer of them all. Wissa scored from open play at a rate of 0.59 goals per 90 minutes last season, fractionally slower than Isak, but faster than all of the other forwards that Newcastle tried and failed to sign. It's true that there are other qualities that some of those players possess and Wissa doesn't. Sesko has rare physical traits, for instance, while Isak has a dynamism on the ball that Wissa perhaps can't claim to have. Still, he has scored as much or more as any of them, created scoring chances at a similar rate, and done so while playing for a team that perhaps have a little less firepower. The other players involved in the equation are younger, of course, which affects their value, and a player like Sesko could easily go on to hit heights that Wissa can't reach. But he is a proven goal scorer whose quality in front of goal and ability to find space and finish chances is the equal of almost any of the Premier League's best forwards. And while he may only have a few more years at the top, rather than a decade, as some of the other forwards Newcastle have looked at might do, he will also cost much less. Pound for pound, he could well be the best signing that Newcastle could make of all the options that they have looked at, especially when you add in his positional versatility. Wissa plays as a winger for the Congolese national team. Wissa's quality and production is the equal of any of the players that have wound up on Newcastle's shortlist. Some of those other strikers have broader skill sets or greater physical qualities, but ultimately, none of them score more goals. The problem, of course, is that they haven't signed Wissa yet either. There have even been stories suggesting that Saudi Arabian side Neom SC are interested. It would be a grim and perhaps rather amusing irony if Newcastle somehow missed out on another transfer because their own owners funded a bid from elsewhere. But the odds are that Wissa, who has not softened his stance on leaving Brentford despite returning to training and seems unlikely to be selected for their opening game of the season against Nottingham Forest, the chances are that he will be a Newcastle player before long. Fabrizio Romano is among the reporters suggesting that a deal is extremely likely to be struck, but there are hurdles to clear, not least that Brentford apparently won't sell. Until they find a replacement, Newcastle World report that a deal is being held up because of the need for Brentford to find someone to fill Wissa's boots. Keith Andrews' side supposedly want to sign Dango Ouattara from Bournemouth, but the Cherries also want to find a replacement before letting the winger leave. Newcastle are the last in a line of dominoes that need to fall, but which have yet to be pushed. It's been widely reported that a deal for Wissa, who has just 1 year remaining on his contract, will set Newcastle back around 35 million. and they seem prepared to pay that, having had earlier bids of 25 million rejected. While it remains likely that Wissa signs for Newcastle before long, it's not currently looking likely that he'll be ready to play on Saturday. This is a transfer saga that has a few twists and turns left in it yet. Perhaps this one will finally end well for Newcastle, however. And if he keeps scoring like he has done at Brentford, Newcastle fans may get over all those missed opportunities a little more quickly than they might have expected. Not Baleba. Amorim wants Man UTD to sign 60 million midfielder. Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim is an admirer of Southampton midfielder Mateus Fernandes, TalkSport journalist Alex Crook has revealed. The Portuguese tactician is reportedly a big fan of his 21-year-old compatriot, who enjoyed a promising debut Premier League season and is now being heavily linked with a move away from St. Mary's. West Ham have recently opened talks with Southampton over a deal for Fernandes, but saw their initial proposal of up to 30 million rejected. The Saints value the Portuguese starlet at around 50 million to 60 million, according to David Ornstein, similar to fellow midfielder Romeo Lavia, who left St. Mary's for Chelsea in the summer of 2023 in a 58 million deal. Fernandes impressed during his debut season on the South Coast, making 36 Premier League appearances and accumulating more minutes than any other U21 player in the division. Man United have spent heavily on 3 new forwards, Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbomo, and Benjamin Sesko, and are now believed to be on the lookout for a new central midfielder. The Red Devils have earmarked Brighton starlet Carlos Baleba as their priority target, but a deal for the 21-year-old remains difficult, amid the South Coast club's reluctance to sell. According to GiveMeSport senior correspondent Fabrizio Romano, Brighton could be demanding around 120 million, but Man United are still waiting to understand the exact cost of the deal. Baleba is believed to be keen on a move to Old Trafford even without European football this season, and Man United are willing to try to convince Brighton to sell Fernandes. Made a substitute appearance in Southampton's 2-1 win over Wrexham on Saturday, which saw Will Still win his first championship match in the St. Mary's dugout. The exceptional 21-year-old midfielder was a bright spark in the Saints' dismal Premier League campaign last term and was named the club's Player of the Year, following in the footsteps of Virgil van Dijk, James Ward-Prowse, and Adam Lallana Fernandes, who joined Southampton for 15 million from Sporting Lisbon last summer, is under contract until June 2029. The Reds have had a busy summer of incoming transfers, with Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Florian Wirtz, and Hugo Ekitike signing for the first team so far, while Georgi Mamardashvili has arrived after signing last summer, and young goalkeeper Arthur Peksy also joining. Arne Slot is also close to adding young Parma star Giovanni Leoni to his squad to bolster the center of defense, and now the club are looking towards departures to trim down their squad before the transfer deadline on September 1st.